we ultimately landed on letting go, which is kind of a metaphor for what the show is, I think. It starts off, this world is so full of words and in media and things getting hammered at us all the time in news and television and all of it. And I think it's so important. What I feel like when I see these works is it's just simplified. It's like this life simplified. It is a breath of fresh air, as you said. It's so wonderfully relaxing, and to look at your work, I really do very much feel like whatever is going on in my life, I look at your work and it feels like my shoulders drop. And I appreciate you for that, because that's a hard thing to achieve in today's world and the pace we tend to work at. So without any other further ado, I would like to introduce Christy Hall.
Thank you so much. I first just wanted to thank everyone for coming here. Some people are coming here to Langdon Hall because you're Langdon Hall fans and don't know me yet. I'm Christy. And some of you have traveled hours all the way from New Zealand to be here, so thank you so much for coming. I'm sure some of you saw the weather earlier this weekend and thought, do I still want to go? It looks really cold out. But you made it, so thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. As Jen said, this collection or this exhibition is called Letting Go and is really about letting go of a lot of fear and doubt, because I built my art career through social media, which has been amazing, reaching people all over the world, and with gaining exposure also brings a lot of not so nice comments. And for a while I kind of let myself sit in that doubt and really wondered if my art had a place in the world. And so this last year, this body of work is really about letting go of that fear and self-doubt and trusting that there is a place for beige and neutral art in the world. I also wanted to do a couple of quick thank yous. Thank you to my husband, Brent, for putting up with me through all this time. It's been an interesting road getting here, and living with an artist has its many challenges, especially working out of a home studio, and Brent is quite particular about things being clean and tidy, and I get paint everywhere, so thank you. Thank you to Marcus for lending me the beast, for getting all the pieces here. Appreciate it. And to Jenna for introducing me to Jen, for making this all happen. Really appreciate it, and thank you for accepting my work into this beautiful, prestigious hotel. I know a lot of artists would give their dominant painting hand to be here, so I'm very honored and grateful to be here. So thank you, everyone. Do you want to take the mic?
So normally, the way we do these discussions is really just supposed to be a very informal Q&A. I do come prepared in the event that nobody has an initial question, because I go through life with many. So I can start off, but again, this microphone is for all of us to share. So if you have any questions for Christy, this is what the purpose of these art events are, and this is why she's in here. So. I will start off by just asking, we've showcased many professional artists throughout these gallery halls for years now, but I always find that it's rare to find somebody with your range of skills, that you come at it with all of these prior careers, I suppose.
Yeah,
and
a couple of careers.
And it's not unusual in this day and age for people to try a number of different things before they land on what they ultimately feel is their purpose in life. But perhaps you can just speak a little bit about how your trajectory has affected your work, and maybe both complemented it or maybe worked as a detriment. Like, have you had to work through things, prior biases that you may have encountered to ultimately produce the work that you do?
Thank you. Great question. So I would say, starting from my career in fashion, that really taught me how to discover and also create my own style and aesthetic, and understand what style feels like me. And through fashion design, this is how I started with, we always start with an inspiration board, a vision board, what's the mood, what's the feeling, what's the color palette, and to really think of when designing a collection, whether it was clothing, swimwear, or now with artwork, thinking of it from the perspective of, you know, who is my ideal client and buyer for this, and what is their color palette, and what do their interiors look like. So not just creating art for fun, which it is fun and it is therapeutic, but also thinking of it from the perspective of who am I creating this for. And I actually brought the magazine from my fashion design graduating class to show. I can pass this around. So this one here was actually I'm gonna start throwing that around to you if you wanna take a look. So yeah, always kind of started my career from color palette and leaning into that, and then marketing obviously taught me social media and content creation. And I think marketing, because you asked the detriment of the work, and marketing does sometimes get more my left brain going, where I think about the numbers and what's working best, and sometimes you have to look at, it's not just about making other people happy and getting more views, and you really have to be true to yourself and what feels like your real style and your voice and what you want to say in the world. And even though I've gotten a lot of feedback and criticism of, you know, you don't use enough color, your artwork should be colorful and bright, and that's all fine and dandy. There's lots of bright, colorful art in the world, but I want people to feel calm and to look at a painting and to feel relaxed. So I guess it's kind of been an interesting journey getting here of just trusting that.
Great. If anyone has a question, I'm happy to hand this off. Otherwise, I can continue. Your canvases are...
we have a question?
Yes, I'd rather hear your voice than mine. Please.
Well, the first thing that caught my eye was that inspiration board, and I'm just wondering about is that all one location? Like the shower that falls from a skylight and the sweeping front staircase? Like, can you talk a little bit about the things on that board? Because I do love that color palette.
I'm so glad that you love it. Great question, thank you. So this inspiration board has gone through many iterations. Most of my images I pull from stuff I see online. Could be, I think this photo of the horse on the beach was actually someone else posted a video of horseback riding on the beach. And so I'm a constant collector of images of inspiration, and so a lot of this is just going through Pinterest or Instagram and pulling stuff that speaks to me. So anytime I'm scrolling, I'll just kind of screenshot stuff that speaks to me. A lot of it is like wabi-sabi, kind of Japandi inspired, a lot of Costa Rica, beachy kind of stuff, but yeah, just pulling it from online. Did you have a follow-up question?
I'm just envying anyone who lives in that place.
Yeah.
Me too, me too.
Dare to dream, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for your question. So your canvases are richly textured and increasingly complex with varied materials and processes, creating the romantic dreamlike quality of your work. What draws you to texture, and what was your shift into multimedia? Was your shift into multimedia intentional or organic? Are you exploring any new materials to push this further?
Thank you. So yeah, I've always loved texture. When I actually brought this piece, which is one of the first. This was maybe piece number 3, 4, or 5, somewhere around there. And when I started just playing around with paint, I was really inspired by other artists I had seen that mixed together modeling paste and different materials to get that texture. Yeah, it just always kind of pulled me. And then the more I started playing around with that and then challenging myself to do a little bit realism, but still have like an abstract kind of surreal feeling, then I started feeling more of a pull to start incorporating fabric and kind of going back to my roots, my fashion roots of experimenting with that. And now, I guess it kind of was like fabric and then modeling paste and sand and crushing up stones to give it texture. And now where my mind is going is, so at guess about 6 months ago, I took my first acrobatic silks class. And I'm not sure if everyone, hi Jess. I'm not sure if everyone knows what I mean, but it's like you're hanging from the silks and you're doing acrobatics up in the air. And after my first class, I thought, oh, wouldn't that be cool to like put a canvas on the ground and then be in the air doing all these acrobatics and then dipping the silk in the, in paint and splatting it around. So that's kind of where my next idea is going, because in the last couple of classes, all I've been able to do is climb to the top of the silks.
It requires an immense amount of fitness.
Yes,
I know that.
It's a workout. So that's kind of where my mind is going, and also just challenging myself with experimenting with different fabrics and just having fun experimenting and playing around with it.
Yeah. So one of the interesting things that I get being the curator of the gallery is I take on the task of hanging the art, and
some of them are very heavy.
Toes in the sand, is that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm calling it toes in the sand. When I went to pick it up, I was like, whoa, this one's got a bit of heft to it. So I actually ended up putting in additional drywall supports because it's actually quite heavy.
Yeah.
But again, I love it. You hear all the time, oh, the photo doesn't do it justice. But that is such a true statement in this day and age of art and selling art online, because we do a lot of our sales through our e-gallery to people that never actually see the physical piece. So the photographs are so deeply important. It's one thing if you're already a collector of that artist. It's another thing if you're just acquiring something for the first time for your collection. And it was really fascinating for me to see not so much the front of the canvases, but when you flip them over, you actually see the construction of it.
Yeah, all the stitching in the back.
All the stitching, and it's just, again, because I do this all the time. It's just really, really exciting that something still thrills me when I see these things. I'm like, well, look at this. Like, it's a really wonderful way to get that feeling of movement and texture and just the organic. Like I was saying that one of my favorites is the one at the top of the stairs with the horses. I love horses, but it's the mist. That mist is like, every time I see it, I think I know exactly what the temperature of the day is out there, what the wind is doing. Like, you really do a wonderful job of conveying that sense of place.
Thank you.
Through your art, which is really thrilling, as I say.
Thank you. What a compliment that I'm still surprising you.
Yeah, you are. I can't say it enough. It's really great. Okay, so I'll move on to another question unless anybody has anything to add to this line. Yes, please go ahead. Would you like the microphone?
I don't really.
No, you don't.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
I found your Hey Girl piece quite fascinating because it's quite unlike your other pieces that are displayed. Can you tell me more about it, the chronology of where in your painting, your career, you created that, and what you were thinking, and what you see?
Yeah, so this one, Hey Girl, I think I painted that right after, so it would have been last year, because it was right after my last exhibition. It didn't quite make it into that one. And this piece was inspired by the Toronto skyline. So I live downtown Toronto, and it's very busy, it's very loud, it's very noisy. So I love going to the beach. I love spending time at Toronto Island. And one of my favorite views of the city is from the ferry, the water ferry, and coming into the city and seeing that. And so I wanted to paint that, but I'm not really a blue person, so I wanted to paint it with neutrals. And this was created right around the time, so I had just kind of come off a wave of doing mostly commissions, which thank you to my art collectors here, literally helping me live my dream life, so thank you. And I had done a wave of a lot of commissions that year, and I wanted to kind of take some time to get back into abstract art. And so there were two pieces I did before that were very abstract, and then I thought, okay, I kind of want to merge these styles where I'm doing a little bit of realism, where you can kind of see that it is something that's not completely abstract, but still has that sense of, kind of dreamy and surreal. And then I wanted it to have this very soft feeling of, when you're looking at the skyline on like a cloudy day, and I find that always really calming and relaxing. So, yeah.
Well, I like it because it's left up to interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
As well. I mean, people see the skyline, but then you see other things depending on where your head's at or what you're feeling. So I like it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Again, it's that sense of place that I spoke about. It really does, without a doubt. You feel like you've seen it before, and it reminds you of something, which is it's wonderful. Any other questions? All right, I will move on. You've kind of already answered this, but where are you going from here, artistically speaking? Do you like doing commission pieces? Do you have a plan for going into blue?
This is the closest I go to. Well, no, there's a couple of pieces that I have of blue, but I love when you saw this one and you said, "Oh, it's just a kiss of blue." I thought, yes, she gets it, because it started out completely blue.
Jenna, you saw it too. Jenna knows it right away. We're like, what is that color?
Yeah, just the slightest hint of blue. So moving forward, the pieces that I've been creating over the last month since delivering all these pieces are all horses. They're all neutral. And I really want to challenge myself with just playing with different materials. This whole last year has been a lot of me focusing on, okay, what is my niche, and being the beach. And then that piece with the horses on the beach was that next step into, oh, but I'm really obsessed with horses, and I think I want to just paint horses for a while. So I'm still open to doing commissions, and I still plan on doing them, but I am kind of shifting now more into, well, I want most of my time spent on doing originals and really exploring artwork that feels like me, and then, still having a couple of commissions, because they do challenge me. Every commission I've done, at some point, either myself or the client has said, "Oh, well, I wonder if we added this or did that." And at first time I was like, gold, and then, oh yeah, maybe that would look nice. And then, oh, I love gold. Okay, I'm putting gold on everything. So yeah, leaning into a bit of everything.
Thanks for that.
I have a question.
Yes, Jenna.
And it's mostly from
You
my
go to
kids, so they're going to cringe that I've even asked this. It sounds basic. But when we were upstairs, they asked me to ask you how long it takes to paint some of those paintings. How long does it take for the paint to dry on the ones that were quite heavy?
Textured? Yeah. So most paintings take me about 2 to 3 months. Smaller ones I can finish in a couple of weeks. I paint every day, and I switch between 1 or 2 pieces. I typically work on 2 to 3 pieces at a time. In terms of actual hours on the canvas, I sometimes add it up after, I'd say around 50 hours for most of them. And for the ones that have a lot of texture, it's waiting a day, sometimes 2 days for each layer to dry before adding on the next layer of texture. But then it makes it fun, because while I wait for that to dry, then I go and work on another piece.
Just when you were talking about how long it takes things to dry, and you work with all sorts of different materials, do you start with the materials first and say, I'm going to work with fabric and sand, and then make the image? Or do you start with the image and say, okay, that lends itself to cement and silk or whatever?
Thank you. I love that question. It's a bit of both. Sometimes I'll have an idea of a piece. Usually it comes to me in a dream, or it's a moment that I visualize every morning when I'm kind of doing my gratitude list and visualizing my goals. And I'll think of the piece first, and then, okay, well, I want the water to kind of come alive, so I'm going to use fabric for that. And I want the rocks and the sand to be really chunky, so I'm going to use, some sand and crush up some stones into that. But then there's other pieces where I think, okay, I want to challenge myself to use fabric. How do I then kind of create a composition so that I can hide the stitching from one side to the next? So it's a little bit of both, but I would say in most cases it's an idea of the piece, and then I start figuring out what fabrics would make sense for that piece. Thank you.
Which then leads me to my off-script question.
Okay.
There's, I actually have a few other exhibiting artists that I've had. Oh yeah, Drew's here, Marion's here. I don't know if I have any others here, but the more I get to know them, the more I realize that there is a lot of methodical thought process that goes into your creating. You know, I know someone who will walk an hour and a half most mornings before they get into it. You know, for you, are you do you get up and start painting at the same time roughly every day? Do you ever wake up and think, I just can't do it today? So what do you do to free your mind of whatever's burdening you?
Yeah, love this question. So I try to keep a similar routine every day. So get up in the morning, take my dog for a walk. Usually I like to go down to the beach and get that feeling of calm and flow to get into the state of painting. Then I do a Tony Robbins visualization exercise. Then I read over my goals and vision for my life to kind of stay focused. And a lot of that is a reminder of, okay, focus on experimenting with these fabrics, these colors to get into that mindset. Then I do my morning pages, so like journaling, and then I smoke a joint and then I paint because I find I don't have to. I have painted without it, but I do find that it kind of gets my brain out of, oh, well, I gotta put X number of hours into this piece, or I want to charge, you know, this much for this piece. So it's got to be really nice. So yeah, smoking a joint just kind of helps remove some of that stress and get into flow state.
Feels that way. Yep.
Definitely enhances the creativity. But yeah, like I used to start my day with marketing tasks and do social media and post a video and make sure I'm posting every day. And then I found that I would, because I read and reply to every comment, and I would sometimes then in the morning check my phone and a comment says, your artwork has no soul, or this is artwork if you've never, you know, really taken a painting class before, or, you know, all these like really mean comments that keyboard warriors love to have. And so then I found if I started my day with checking that was kind of playing in my brain as I'm approaching the canvas. So flipped around my schedule so all the marketing tasks happen in the evening, and that way if I get some a-hole that's giving me negative feedback, then it's like, okay, whatever, go to bed, wake up the next morning and go to the beach and it's out of my brain.
Yeah. This feels like a natural transition into one of my last comments, is that, you know, in this day and age, it's not enough just to be a creative, to be a talented creative at that. You know, you show this really strong business sense. You show a really diligent personal sense of routine that helps you keep in that space. Obviously, networking was very obvious because that's how I came to meet you. You know, you've mentioned some of these habits that you have, or I shouldn't say habits, behaviors that help you get into, you know, the frame of mind to produce. What advice would you give to somebody who is either experimenting with art, or maybe has been in art and has taken a back step and would like to get back into it? You know, especially in this day and age where it is important to put yourself out there. You have to. That's how we market ourselves. And you know, being part of a hotel, believe me, I get it. We pour our heart and soul into everything that we do, but not everyone's always going to like it, or once in a while you just stumble, and that's human. And you know, you just have to get back up, figure out what you did wrong, and aim to improve it. So you know, there's not enough kindness in this world. We all know that. What advice do you give then for just making sure that you don't get bogged down by the negativity? Because it is, like you said, it's like keyboard warriors. They hide behind their aliases, and you can't get caught up in it.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is just the repetition and having some sort of morning routine that kind of shifts your mindset, because I'm human. I wake up some days and I'm in a cranky mood or have PMS or whatever. And then those days, the comments really kind of, you know, bury a bit deeper than I want them to. And having a morning routine where you're doing something, spending time for yourself, For me, like reading over my daily goal list of like, this is the life I want to live, this is my vision, reminding myself that I, have shifted from a marketing world where there's steady, oh, just need this many clients, and then you have that income, into the world of don't know where the next sale is going to happen, and there is that fear sometimes. And so just having that mindset of, okay, this is that routine, this is what I'm working towards, this is what I'm creating in the world, this is what I want to put out there. So then the other comments don't really matter once you're in that state. And because you asked about advice for other artists, I think the biggest thing is you need to see it as a business. If you want to be an artist and do that as a business, as full-time, you have to kind of let go of, oh, I just want to paint and I just want to paint all day, and you need to be comfortable with, splitting your day. When I made the shift from, okay, I'm going to make a concerted effort to do art full-time, I was spending 75% of my time on marketing, operations, sales, and only 30% painting. And now that, after the momentum started building, now I'm shifting back to like a 50-50. But I think a lot of artists spend 70 to 80% creating art and only 20 or 30% on marketing and sales. And so having that business mindset of who's my ideal client and what does that room look like and what color palettes make sense for them, and how do I tell a story of this piece, because that's how you build connection. Really shifting and looking at it from that perspective. And having a community and a mentor that pushes you makes a big difference as well. I invested in joining a community, well, a few times, but one of them specifically that really pushed me outside my comfort zone. And so when I saw this community and artists in there were selling paintings for like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, I thought, oh, that's crazy. Wouldn't that be crazy? And so surrounding myself with those people and not the people that are saying, $500, that's a lot of money to sell our work for. So just being in the right environment and the people that you surround yourself with, supportive people, and having those routines, and being disciplined in it, and knowing when to be more disciplined and when to give yourself some freedom can kind of be a slippery slope. I'm a recovering workaholic, so I sometimes struggle with that, how much time to spend in things, but yeah, community for sure.
Great advice, thank you. So I'd like to open up the floor. I'm sure someone probably has some questions that I haven't covered. Would you like the microphone? Thank you.
You had mentioned stitching on the back of the work, and I'm just curious about that.
Come take a look. Yeah, let's
turn it this way. I'll come to you.
Okay. So this one, the water was created with fabric that's stitched on, and so you can see the stitching in the back here, and then it's painted on over top. And there's a couple other pieces that have fabric stitched on them as well. Yeah.
You kind of wish that you could have the artwork on a rotating lazy Susan, because part of the art really is what's going on the back. And I could say that, for so many different pieces. Sometimes people sign on the back. Sometimes you can tell that they've had like a
I didn't sign this
spill,
one.
or things that,
Stitched?
Yeah.
yeah,
So this is actually fabric. You can touch it.
I see.
yeah.
Okay.
And then it's pleated. And most of the stitching is on the front of here to kind of slip stitch to be hidden, but some of it's in the back.
On the front.
Yeah.
And then you can't tell from the front. Have you ever considered making it obvious? Have you ever thought, oh, that's a, I don't know. I
That's-
want to use blue thread.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
For my blues out.
as I'm showing this, I'm like, ooh, the stitching, it's not perfect, and hopefully nobody misses that.
I wouldn't have, you can't tell.
Yeah, I think my more recent pieces, I have been experimenting with the fabric coming out more, so it's a little bit more obvious, but I also kind of liked that.
Subtle.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
subtle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I feel so exposed. You've seen the back of my work.
But it's neat and tidy back there.
It is.
Oh, thank
So
you.
neat
Thank
and
you. I
tidy.
try to keep it neat and tidy. I'm sure my stitching teacher from college would have things to poke out at, but thank you.
They're actually very, they seem
Consistent.
mathematically consistent. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
No,
looking for.
that's years of practice.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, well, I won't take up any more of anybody's time. If you have any questions, Christy's here. She has a dinner reservation shortly, but she'll be around for about another 30 minutes or so. I'd like to thank you all again for coming. We do these art exhibitions about every 3 to 4 months. You know, Langdon Hall, we like to support the arts. We find there's great value in having artists and giving them a place to show their art. So thank you again, Christy, for coming.
Thank you.
We look this show will be up until the end of March. So anytime they're always there, come by. I'm always here as well. My name's Jennifer Houghton. If you have any questions, you just reach out to anybody at Langdon and they can direct you to me. Again, all the pieces are for sale. If anybody is interested in purchasing anything, please feel free to reach out to me. They're also all available online through our e-gallery.
Some of them have already sold
Yeah,
already.
we
So
have
if you
sales here tonight, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep. And thank you all for coming. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, good.